Welcome to Gardening Mindfully. I'm Zenith and I hope you're having a truly amazing day. If you are a current subscriber, thank you so very much for your ongoing support. If you are new to the channel, I sincerely hope that you'll subscribe so we will grow. In this video, I'd like to share with you my west side garden. The first planting in this garden was in the fall of 2021, and here we are in the spring of 2024, and I must add, the garden is getting just a little bit wild. So I will show you the garden on April 15th, and as it is today on May 27th, 2024. Come along with me. Let's go ahead and look at my west side garden right after this. As I mentioned earlier, the footage that you're looking at right now was taken on April 15th, 2024. So you'll notice that the Loropetalum, which is a shrub in the back, is pretty much finished flowering, and the daffodils have already flowered. So these are the plants after the first flush of bloom in early spring. Bordering the front here, the plant with the silvery gray foliage, that's Dusty Miller. And the plant that's flowering with that pink bloom, that is Pink Profusion Salvia, which is the Proven Winners 2024 Perennial of the Year. So we also have Chrysanthemum, which is not yet flowering. We also have Echinacea right there that has a bud, and that's of the Powwow series. We also have Viola with their sweet little faces, and then we also have, that's a ground cover sedum right there. Here is a closer look at the Pink Profusion Salvia. And what I love about this plant is that it is great at attracting pollinators, such as bees, butterflies, and hummingbirds. It's a magnet for pollinators. The ground cover to the right of the statue is Delosperma, which is the ice plant. It's a succulent that's also a perennial, which is native to Africa. In the container next to the statue, we have lemon ball sedum. You notice that I also have a Dusty Miller in addition to a Pink Profusion Salvia. On the ground next to the sundial, we also have Autumn Joy sedum. So there are a lot of sedums in this garden. We also have a lot of Dusty Miller, but I just love the chartreuse green foliage of the lemon ball with the yellow blooms, and having that plant just draping over the container. I think it's just really beautiful. The plant with the chartreuse green foliage that you're looking at right here, this is Sedum Angelina. I did a profile on that plant last year, and I'll go ahead and add the link to that video in the description box below. This tall plant in the foreground that you're looking at is a fall blooming aster. I'm unable to recall the variety. Also, the plant to the left of the planter, that's another fall blooming aster, and that's the Painted Daisy aster. That's another viola peeking out from between the two Dusty Miller. And look at that contrast between the gray-green foliage of the Dusty Miller. That is really beautiful. On the left, we have more Delosperma, another fall blooming aster, and also more Echinacea to the far left. Behind the Loropetalum is a Barbara Jackman clematis. Now let's go ahead and zoom in and take a closer look at this clematis flower. At this end of the garden bed, which is close to the garage, we have another Sedum Autumn Joy, which is a start from the one you saw previously. We also have a Sky Pencil Holly, which we initially had two in this garden bed, but the one at the other end was removed in order to install the fence. So we currently have only one Sky Pencil Holly in this garden bed. The Dusty Miller at this end of the garden bed is getting ready to flower. Just look at those flower scapes. I would also like to let you know that Dusty Miller is very easy to propagate. So many of the plants in this garden bed were starts from just breaking off a stem of another plant and just rooting it directly into the garden. So that's all I did. I did not purchase all of these plants. They're very, very easy to propagate. I enjoy viewing the garden from this vantage point because you can clearly see very quickly where the holes are and what needs to be done. So for example, I can see those sedums right there, the chartreuse color on the right. It would be nice to have some on the left to balance everything out. So that's the lemon ball sedum and also the Angelina. The highlights for me are seeing the viola nestled among the Dusty Miller and also the lemon ball sedum draping over the container with the pink profusion salvia in the background, and also seeing the Dusty Miller in bud getting ready to bloom. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the garden as it is today on Monday, May 27th, 2024. Now, 6 weeks later, you will notice that all of the plants have flowered, with the exception of the chrysanthemum, which will flower around July 4th, and also the fall blooming asters. But the star of this garden is the Dusty Miller. Just look at those golden blooms and look at those honeybees. They are loving the Dusty Miller blooms. I also did a video profiling the Dusty Miller plant and will add the link to that video in the description box below. Dusty Miller is a versatile plant and can be used in a landscape as a border plant just like I'm using it here, or it can be used in a border to fill a gap. In addition to that, it can be used in a container as well. It's easy to propagate, it's drought tolerant, and it's also deer resistant. And the silver gray foliage just makes it a great plant to add contrast and texture to any garden. You will also notice that the Delosperma or ice plant, which is a succulent plant, is in bloom. And to the left of that ice plant is a viola, which is still in bloom even though it's the end of May. The plant with the daisy-like pink blooms in the back, that's an echinacea, and that's from the Powwow series. To the left of that, with the yellow and orange buds, that's a chrysanthemum. And the buds are starting to open, which is pretty early considering this is the end of May. Continuing down the garden bed now, you will notice that there are more echinacea in bloom, as well as Delosperma, and to the left of that Delosperma, the Sedum Autumn Joy actually is in bud. It has not opened yet, but those are some healthy buds on that Sedum Autumn Joy. These were the first Dusty Miller to flower, and you can clearly tell because the blooms are not that vibrant yellow color anymore. They have already started to fade and are turning brown. This is how I had envisioned the Dusty Miller in this garden bed. To be at the front of the border, growing no more than 10, maybe 12 inches tall and slightly rounded. But as you can see, in certain parts of the garden that the Dusty Miller has filled out, and with the flower stalk is well over 2 feet tall. But I just absolutely love that gray silvery foliage with the abundance of yellow blooms. This has already elevated this garden. The highlight of the garden right now are the Dusty Miller, the Echinacea, and the Delosperma, all of which are in full flower and cast a magical spell over the garden. Thank you so very much for joining me. I'm really excited at how much the garden is growing, and I cannot wait to see those fall blooming asters this fall. I am really excited. I know they will be spectacular. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel so we can grow. Happy gardening, and see you in the next video. Bye for now.